Okay, so I'm just going to add something. This is an addition or an amendment to the last video on densities on the base 9 system. So what I didn't really explain was what we're about to, the ones of us who are graduating and who are evolving in consciousness up to the 4th density. What is the 4th density really all about? Well, it depends on which, so 3rd density is about making the choice. Depending on which choice you've made, if you've chosen to the service to others path, which is the positive polarity, then you're going to start 4th density in the astral in service to others, polarizing towards the positive, which is learning all that there is to learn about love, compassion, and balancing love and compassion with your service work in service to others. Okay, so a lot of 4th density entities come back in social memory complex groups, or in other words, collectives. And when I say come back, they stay on the earth plane and they initially help try to guide the remaining 3rd density humans who are still here. Because don't forget, this all takes, we perceive it to be time, linear space-time, which doesn't really exist, but that's for another video, is the illusion of linear space-time. So in the space-time illusion, we have linear time, right? Time's ticking away now. It's got 2 minutes on the clock. Time's ticking away. Ultimately, really, the real truth is there is only the moment of now. And it is always the moment of now. You're always living in the divine moment of now. But in the illusion, in the space-time illusion, time is ticking away, okay? So it's all about, so basically there's a lot of lifetimes, there's a fair few lifetimes left. From what I've been shown, there's at least 2 or 3. Maybe more. Maybe 3 or 4 or 5 lifetimes left for many people in the 3rd density to still make their choice. You see, the ascension window really opens on 2030, but I've been shown that we've got much more time than that. The humanity have really got much more time than that. Linear time, illusory time. I don't know how much exactly, the Quo material and the Ra material, mostly the Quo material, suggests that, well, it indicates that there's at least a few lifetimes worth left. I've been shown, and my channel friend Jane has been shown, that some people have got at least 2 or 3 lifetimes, maybe 3 or 4 lifetimes left to complete their polarization into the 4th density positive. And indeed, a lot of us are working off our karma now in this lifetime and maybe the next. So it could very well take 3 or 4 more incarnations at least for many of us to polarize fully into the 4th density positive. However, the 4th density positive window opens round about 2030 approximately, which is about 7 or 8 years, but it could be longer than that. I mean, that's when the window opens initially, but the window's staying open for probably a couple of 100 years, probably 200 or 300 years, maybe more, because there's been the divine dispensation. There was a divine dispensation given because basically hardly anybody was going to make the grade, and hardly any souls have made the grade apart from the ascended masters. Maybe just over 1,000 over many grand think that's right. Okay, over the 77-year thousand cycles, some people, this is complicated as well. You see, people have different ways of measuring space-time, okay, on the cycles. What people call a major cycle. Some people call a major cycle 75,000 years. Or 75,950 years. Other people go by a different way of counting space-time, and that's I'm one of these, and I've been shown that it's more like 77,000 years. Now, even Carla Ruckert in her challenge and her book Living the Law of One, she said at least 76,000 years. So yeah, that's coming closer to 77,000 years. So let's say a major reincarnation cycle is 77,000 years. There's been many of these major reincarnation cycles, and there's only been little over 1,000 ascended masters who have gone into fourth density or above. Okay, so the harvest, the graduation figure has been terribly low. So with this being such a difficult realm, the earth realm, of making the choice, with the free will and with the polarities being so extreme, and with the third density being so difficult, with the emotional catalyst and the physical catalyst and the mental catalysts, there was a divine dispensation enacted or decreed that was enacted that basically gave us a few more centuries to kind of get our act together and give us a chance to graduate. And yeah, my God, did we need it? Humanity needed it. Also, another divine dispensation was given, decreeing that you don't have to pay all of your karma off anymore. Dolores Cannon spoke about this in her later books just before she died. Karma was a big thing for her. She would mention karma all the time. You need to get your karma sorted out. You need to forgive everybody that's ever wronged you, and forgive yourself for every single thing you've ever done wrong, or you ever perceive that you've done wrong to anybody, any other soul. Well, that was the case at one point, but then a divine dispensation was enacted to say that no longer did you have to pay off or balance all of your karma, just most of it, or whatever most of it means. And I've been shown a figure of about 75 to 80%. So you need to really kind of aim for, my way of thinking is aim for all of it, and then you usually get most of it. If you aim for most of it, you rarely, you try doing the shadow work. Just when you think that you've forgiven everybody, and when you think you've forgiven yourself for everything that you've ever perceived to have done wrong to any other soul, I guarantee you'll be in meditation one day and somebody will come to you, or a whole bunch of people who you haven't forgiven, or a whole bunch of things will come to you, of events that you remember that you did things to other people that you'd completely forgotten about, and it comes back to you during meditation or whatever, or contemplation. So yeah, that's to explain that. So fourth density negative, what they basically do is they skip the green ray altogether. They go straight to the blue ray, because they see absolutely no use in using the heart center. They see it as a weakness, a fallibility, and they see it as absolutely, utterly useless. And if anything, it gets in the way of their polarity. So they skip the heart center, and so their fourth density, they go from the yellow ray, solar plexus center, straight to the throat chakra, where they can speak their power and authority over others to dominate and control, divide, conquer, intimidate, manipulate, using their wisdom. So they go straight to the wisdom chakra. And they use their wisdom to insult, to intimidate, and to dominate others using any tactic they possibly can. As a narcissist, all self-centered, all self-orientated. I'm sure that we all know people. I certainly do. I've recently gotten rid of a couple in my life recently, over the last few years, who were true narcissists, and it's only now that I've reached this level of awakening that I can look back and think, my God, yeah, you don't see it. You don't see it, especially when you're fourth density positive and you all service to others, and you just want to see the best in everybody. So the negative polarity, fourth density, of course, 95% is the polarity to polarize and to graduate into the negative. 51%, by the way, that meant 95% in service to self. That means 5% or less service to others throughout your life. That's thoughts, actions, intentions, as well as deeds. With service to others, the positive polarity, you need to be 51% of your thoughts, your actions, your intentions in service to others. Wanting to assist others, wanting to help others. I think that pretty much explains that. So then the fifth density is balancing in the positive polarity, is balancing the love with the wisdom. So the love that you've learned all throughout the fourth density positive in the astral, you then take to the etheric planes in the fifth, and the crystalline light grid, and in the earth, and you then balance the love and the compassion with wisdom. Because in the fourth density, you tend to kind of err to the side of martyrdom. You tend to sometimes literally put others before yourself so much that you even self-sacrifice. So martyrdom can be a big issue towards the late fourth density positive polarity, because you give in and you give in and you give in. You don't even mind giving your life, But then the fifth density is about balancing the love with the wisdom to serve in a more efficient way without having to give your life, without having to be a martyr. And then the negative fifth density would be, of course, using your wisdom to overthrow, enhancing that wisdom that you've been learning in the fourth density and doubling it up and making it even more efficient to dominate others, to control others, to intimidate others. I just thought, I needed to give that amendment because I didn't really explain fourth density positive, and I didn't really explain the graduations. So I hope that kind of explains things better. And then I will I'll give an attempt, hopefully tomorrow, at describing the base 12 consciousness density system. Okay. I hope that hasn't mind-boggled you too much. I hope that hasn't bent your brain into a pretzel too much. This is complicated stuff, and ultimately there is only one thing happening. There's just, imagine it, this one thing with different varying vibratory rates. So you're seeing the oscilloscope, like a heartbeat monitor. So ninth density would be just so fast that it's just either, you just wouldn't see anything. The ninth density, you just wouldn't see anything. There'd be nothing there. or everythingness all at once, which would look like nothing. Because it'd be too much to comprehend. So it's every eventuality, every possibility, every probable or possible outcome, but which isn't manifest yet. And then it moves down to the 8th density, which then has the lights, the white lights, to shine into the 7th density, which then has the light and the free will, which then divides the rays into the 7 rays. And then 7th, where the souls start being formed, and projected out, in every direction into manifest creation. 6th, it just goes down and down and down, and every time the souls project out, and there's more and more souls in the social memory complexes. So I hope that helps, and I hope that hasn't confused things more for you. Hopefully that's clarified things more than confused. This is a tricky one to deal with, but hopefully that's helped, and namaste.